Hello, I am Samuel Mount, and you have chosen the Wandering Through the Desert devotion. But before we get into the devotion, we should talk about what Choose Your Own Adventure actually is, because you guys are probably wondering what it is. There's these books. There are these books that, well, you choose your own adventure. So it says stuff like, if you want to climb the mountain, go to page 64. Or if you want to talk to the lady, go to page 28. So that's what Choose Your Own Adventure is about.
Hi everyone, we are in my backyard, and as you know, the Israelites wandered in the wilderness for a long time, for 40 years. And so you have this question, where were they living? Well, they were living in tents. And so today what I want to do is set up a tent in my backyard so we can get a better idea of what it was like to be wandering out in the wilderness. Would it have been a hard life? Would it have been an easy life? Well, let's find out. So it took me 20 minutes to build that tent. Imagine that's your life. That you have to build your tent and then tear it down every time. And this is what their life was like. They were being led by a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire. And this pillar would just lift up whenever it wanted to, and they would have to pack everything up, not just their tent, but everything they owned too, all their food, anything they used for cooking, everything. And then they would go follow that pillar of cloud or that pillar of fire. Wow, what an amazing life they had. But it must have been very difficult as they were out there in the desert. But I know there were other problems they had too, but I just can't remember what they are. They also had issues with,
Dad, I'm thirsty, and I'm hungry. Can I have some water and food?
they were thirsty and hungry too. Where the Jews were traveling was a really arid place, very dry. It was called the Sinai. And so it was difficult at times for them to find something to drink. In fact, in Exodus chapter 17, we read, "But the people were thirsty for water there, and they grumbled against Moses. They said, 'Why do you bring us up out of Egypt to make us and our children and livestock die of thirst?' Then Moses cried out to the Lord, 'What am I to do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me.' The Lord answered Moses, 'Go out in front of the people. Take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it for the people to drink.' So Moses did this in the sight of the elders of Israel." So even though they were in situations where it was difficult to find water, God still provided for them, even brought water out of a rock. Wow, what an amazing thing. But God's amazing works don't end with bringing water out of a rock. As we were saying before, these people were also hungry, and there they were in that rugged terrain, that place that was really inhospitable, and they had difficulty finding food. But God was there with them, and God blessed them to find food. In fact, this is what happens. In Exodus 16, we read, "In the desert the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The Israelites said to them, 'If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death.' The Lord said to Moses, 'I have heard the grumbling of the Israelites. Tell them, at twilight you will eat meat, and in the morning you will be filled with bread. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God.' That evening quail came and covered the camp, and in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the dew was gone, thin flakes like frost on the ground appeared on the desert floor. When the Israelites saw it, they said to each other, 'What is it?' For they did not know what it was." Now you might be asking yourself, why is this important to me, Pastor? These things happened a long time ago. What does it have to do with me? Well, the fact is you are God's chosen people. You are. And God deals with you in the very same way. While He's not giving you bread from heaven and He's not bringing water out of a rock, this is how He works with your faith, because we are surrounded by things in our lives that are going to pull us away from our faith. In fact, we have our own sinful nature that is constantly making us not believe what God has to say. And so we need to be nourished. And we need it done in a miraculous way. And this is what God does. He provides for us. He provides for us through His Word, through the preaching of your pastors, through the teaching of your teachers. God is sustaining your faith through His powerful Word. And He also is keeping you within the faith through communion, or at least when you get to take communion, that you'll be able to take the real body and blood of Jesus, and this will strengthen your faith. The fact is in this world, we kind of live in a spiritual desert, and we need God to sustain us wherever we go. But I want you to know that God has done this for you, and He will continue to do this for you. He will always bless you, always be with you, and always help you. He will always provide you the spiritual sustenance that you need. God be with you always. Bye-bye.